White Sox, White Sox, go, go, White Sox. Let's go, 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 White Sox. We're with you all the way. You're always in there fighting and you do your best. We're glad to have you out here in the Middle West. We're gonna root, White Sox and cheer you on to victory. When we're in the stands, we'll make those rafters ring. All through the season, you will hear us sing.
This episode is brought to you by Generate Solutions, your go-to AI experts specializing in empowering commercial real estate companies and environmental consulting firms. As AI is quickly transforming industries and enhancing efficiency, it is important you don't let your business fall behind. At Generate Solutions, we streamline workflows and automate tasks by creating custom AI agents tailored specifically to your business needs. Interested in taking your operations to the next level with AI? Email mfiorante@generatesolutions.com or find us directly on LinkedIn by clicking the link in the bio. On to our episode.
Good afternoon and welcome to a third edition of the Southside Shatter with Nic Fardella and John Conenna. We're coming again here live to you here on July the 1st, and the season of the Chicago White Sox has gone to plan. And pretty much, if you go back and look at our first two episodes with Nic Fardella, Nic has been pretty spot on, and as of today, July 1st, it'll be in one of our pictures in the episode. The White Sox, as of today, are at 45 wins and 39 losses, a record that I don't think no one in the city could have predicted. Nic, good afternoon, and thanks for coming in for another edition of this. Yeah, this is great. This team has really achieved. I'm not going to say overachieved, is achieved. And I have to tell you this, I think the turning point while we were off camera was that weekend of the Chicago Cubs, where they took 2 out of 3 in 3 great games. And we were on that week, I think the Tuesday before those games. Yeah. And you had said that was going to be a turning point. What do you remember of that series? And going in, you know, a lot of people said, okay, this could be the White Sox World Series, but little did we know that the White Sox were going to be in first place almost 2 months later. What did you make of that right there? Was that the turning point a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you just had randomly guys stepping up. Tristan Peters, I remember in game 3, hit a homer in the 8th inning, but then Anthony Dominguez gave the lead up, but then Edgar Carrera finally comes through for us and it's another homer. In game 2, I remember Mooney, Vargas, and Colson each hit a homer like back to back to back. Yeah, just show that just this lineup is just so deep and just can score some runs anytime.
You know, go back to that game where they took the 7-4 lead. It was the outfielder
Tristan Peters.
Tristan Peters gives us that lead, and I have to say, even for that gentleman, his game turned around right there, the confidence. And of course, then when Guerrero hit the homer to win the game. I'll never forget that Sunday afternoon in Chicago, and it really was the turning point. Well, we started this today by saying as of the 29th, the White Sox were tied for first place in the division with the Guardians, and now we're ahead. Now, of course, we'll get to it, but there's a 4-game series coming up with the rival Indians, and these rival Indians go back to the days of the White Sox of the 50s, so this is going to be a great thing. But let's go over again, and like I said, you have been so spot on with this from the spring training of our first episode to that second episode that now leads us into saying that we are the first place Chicago White Sox. Let's talk about a guy who's played a great third base. And every time you turn around, I could go to the kitchen to get a drink of water, and this guy's hitting a home run. Your thoughts on Miguel Vargas with the 19 homers and the 52 RBIs?
He's just been insane this year. He's been arguably our best overall bat. I mean, he's playing great third base. He's been playing first since Mooney has been out with a hamstring injury. But he just got such a pure right-handed swing. It's one of the best that I've seen in the majors so far. And I mean, it'd be crazy to leave him out of the All-Star game. He's been playing that good for us.
How close is he going to have to be a write-in candidate or no?
He's probably not going to be a starter. No, he's
Gotcha.
going to be a reserve. But he's been a spark plug for us.
What? And of course, we're going to talk about something that they're doing it without. Colson Montgomery, 20 homers, 46 RBIs. Would like to, of course, we both would like to see him strike out a little bit less. Even though, as well as Colson, what he brings to the table, such an athletic young man. Do you feel at this point, I started to see it maybe in the last 10 days, is there a little bit of pressure on Montgomery?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's just because Mooney has been injured, and him and Vargas were like the two main bats that teams have been circling in our lineup. And I mean, I think that we have to realize that Colson Montgomery's finally played like a full season because he came up last year, and like the full season splits, he's hit over 40 home runs. So I just have a feeling that he's just going to have a lot of up and down spurts in this season so far, and he's had that. But I mean, when he's on, he's on. But I will say he's playing a great defense too.
Oh God,
he's top 3 defensive shortstop in the AL. I mean, no one could have saw that coming. But if he just strikes out a little bit less, I think he can be just one of those familiar all-stars in years to come now.
And I don't want to bring this gentleman up, but I will. This Colson Montgomery has made us forget about Tim Anderson like it was 40 years ago, because knowing that he was our shortstop of the future, we thought he was. Here's a guy that I love, and it's like, sometimes I forget that he's on the team, but silently, this next gentleman I want to talk about has done a great job. This guy has hit some Mickey Mantle long-time home runs before your time. I know Andrew Benintendi, 10 homers, 39 RBIs as we start this interview. I mean, what can you say about Benintendi? He's not even playing every day.
No, he's been a really surprise for us. I mean, he had another RBI yesterday to bump him up to 40, but it's ever really since the Cubs series where he got some rhythm. I think the entire team got confidence in himself in that series. But ever since that series, he's got that confidence way up, and he's been a bright spot in this lineup. He doesn't play every day because we platoon him and Randall Grichuk in the DH spot for the righty-lefty splits. And I mean, both of them have been really good surprises for us.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, Randall Grichuk, 9 homers, 22 RBIs as of July 1st. Just incredible. I mean, again, not to go back and kind of toot Benintendi's horn, but it's always nice to have a guy like this.
That veteran in the middle of the lineup.
My God,
produced for us. And in the Yankees series, he had a go-ahead grand slam for us off the bench. That just shows
crazy.
That just shows that he's just ready to hit no matter where he is.
All right, here's the guy. I mean, we have this reminds me of a Christmas tree, and there's another gift underneath it. And here's the guy who's really, this is like the surprise gift of the season when we talk about Sam Antonacci batting .292. Correct me if I'm wrong here again, Nick. This guy starts out as an infielder, and now he's playing like he's an all-star left fielder.
He played infield for Team Italy in the World Baseball Classic, and this is his first year actually playing left field. And he's just been a bright spot for us. Right. He leads the AL in hit by pitches, too. He had another homer for us today. He's just that perfect leadoff hitter that's going to set the tone for us. Right. And I do think he sets the tone with the energy of this entire team. He's just full of energy. He's just a spark plug, too, that we need.
Sure, without a doubt. I got to tell you, this has been the surprise because, again, if we go back just a little bit of 4 years ago, this is a godsend because, Jimenez was going to be our left fielder for many years. And Jimenez could have never have had the defensive skill of an Antonacci. Maybe he had a little bit more power.
Eloy, couldn't play defense, and Antonacci's going to run through a wall.
Exactly. I mean, I think he owns the foul ball net down the field line. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Here's another guy. This guy reminds me of just like I'm gonna call him because we have 2 good second basemen in this town. Of course, we have Nico Horner on the Chicago Cubs who's having a decent season, but I'll put him up against. I'll put my draft against Chase, against Horner any day of the week. What a spark plug this guy is. your thoughts on this 276 batting average, and of course the power.
Yeah.
I mean, coming from a second base. What were your thoughts when the season started with Mydrup to now?
I mean, I wasn't really. I didn't think a lot of Chase Modrup. I knew he would just get on base randomly. He was a pretty good defender, but this year the power has gone up. He's playing every day now. He can play. He can bat leadoff or he can bat in the middle lineup. He just performs wherever he wants. Yeah. And last Friday when we beat the Guardians 22-1. The last out of the day, you see him like sliding catch into shortstop and throwing the ball. That just shows that this team doesn't care if we're up or down by a lot. We're going to play.
We're going to play. We're going to play.
Yeah.
And a great point by you, Nick, because 22-1, or if we were chasing 22-1, this team, even let's say they're coming up in the ninth inning, they have made, I can't know of a game. I didn't watch the one today. I know they had just lost to Baltimore this afternoon, but this is a team that's scratching and clawing till the end.
Yeah, they don't care. They don't care if they're up. They don't care if they're down. They're going to play until the final out.
Exactly.
And that's what I think you want to see from such a young, like up and rising team. Is just there's going to be fight till it's over, and that's just what this team is. They believe that they can win it again.
Right out of that. We are here today doing the Shatter from our studio. And of course, it's July 1st. I want to reiterate the date, July 1st, 2026. The Chicago White Sox, as Nick and I are speaking, are at 45-39. And with, I think it's a game and a half lead right at the moment. Might be two.
It was two before we lost. But
Okay, so yeah, and Cleveland might play tonight. So.
Yeah.
I like to go into Cleveland with a 2-game lead, and if you had to get a split or something else. All right, let's talk about him. And a little bit gap, kind of like Colson did. But what's your thoughts on the Davis Martin? And of course, he's got the 3.0 ERA.
Yeah.
What's your thought? He was starting to flounder a little bit, but again, when you're pitching Randy Johnson style pitching staff, and then you have the one bad game. Now the critics come out, but. Your thoughts on Davis Martin?
He's just been, our ace of the staff. He also, I think, should be an all-star. He just got control of every single pitch. He throws around 5 to 6 pitches, so it's really hard for batters to pick up just what he's going to pitch because he pitches so many and a lot of the times. He's been a godspell for us. Like, who knew Davis Martin? He's always had his stuff. He just needed to stay healthy, and he's the ace of the staff. I'm really happy for him. He's 29 years old, too. So he's
just incredible.
Yeah, I mean, he's been great for us.
Sean Burke, your thoughts?
I really like him, too.
Yeah. He's pitched some really solid games. He's lost a couple of heartbreakers.
Yeah. I mean, the past 4 starts, he's pitched 6 innings plus each of those starts. So that's what you really want from a number 2 pitcher. Going back on Davis Martin, there's been 1 of 3 pitchers in baseball that have more to go to 6 innings pitches with allowing two or less runs, and Davis Martin's on that list. So that's how he's just got control and confidence in the stuff. And Sean Burke's been right there with that high fastball and curveball to command that. He's been a godspell for us too.
You mentioned here as we were talking, we're going to talk about Sean Newcomb, Grant Taylor, Brian Hudson. Your thoughts on these guys? I mean, the coming out of the pen, especially because we're going to talk about our disappointments too. And we kind of had a little bit of setback, of course, with Sir Anthony Dominguez. But your thoughts on these 3 guys?
They've been these 3 guys, like my 3 guys at this bullpen that I really like, and I know that I'm confident in them to get any outs in any game. I mean, Grant Taylor had a couple hiccups too recently, but this past week or so, he's just been flat out dominant, throwing over 100. He's got that slider and cutter too that he throws 90 miles per hour. He's been. I think he's probably our best, like our most dominant relief pitcher out of the bullpen. And then Sean Newcomb, we signed him out of free agency, and he's been a surprise too.
Oh, what a surprise! And of course, when we talk about Newcomb and Hudson, they're the 2 lefties.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I mean, they were lights out.
I mean, they both have been openers for us. They both can pitch long innings. They're just 2 arms that you can pitch them anywhere you want.
Yeah.
Bullpen.
Wow. I mean. The other day I was watching Chuck Garfien and Ozzie Guillen on their show, and I think it was about the day when the White Sox won the game 22-1 against Kansas City, another turning point game in the season. And I'll ask you a personal question about that here on the air. That night, I think it was Garfine that turned to Ozzy and said, on this day, we didn't get our 41st win till September 30th, 2 years ago. And now they have 45 wins on July 1st. You know, you made a prediction that they probably would get into the 80s. I think it's going to take probably 99-1 to win that division.
I agree. Yeah. They need everyone they can get.
All right. You know, somebody I think had mentioned to you again that, looked like Cleveland, while the White Sox were making the run, that Cleveland was probably going to run away with it. They had I think Cleveland at one point had a 4 or 5 game lead.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how it's nice to see a Chicago team put the pressure on the other team where we're always feeling the pressure from the way up. So again, another great point by you. All right. Let's talk about, then we'll go back to some of the guys and some of the guys that we got back. Players that right now are not doing so good. I know we got Kyle Teal that came back and right here, but what is happening? I mean, Dominguez just didn't get off to a good start at all, did he?
No. I mean, he's been really struggling closing out games, and then he's been better actually in like the non-closing situations late in the games for around the 7th or 8th inning. He's been much better at that than closing. And I'm feeling Will Venable, our manager, I think hopefully he realizes that, like, hey, Grant Taylor's better as closing games. Dominguez, he's got the good stuff, just got to locate the baseball. Hasn't done that recently, but he's been better in the 7th inning. So hopefully I think he's going to make that change, because like last week against Cleveland, he almost blew a couple of games, and that just cannot happen on the stretch.
We can't.
It's not making his.
If you're going, okay, let's say again, our starters give us 6.
Yeah.
If we're going 7, 8, 9, who is Nic Fardella's guess?
Probably
right now on July 1st.
Probably Hudson, and then either in the 7th inning, 8th inning, either Dominguez or Newcomb, in 9th inning, I would put Grant Taylor out there.
Okay, because he's got the heat. I just think you're correct in saying that Sir Anthony Dominguez is more of a setup guy, and hopefully I would like to just see him against righties too, and maybe throw the junk at him and all that. Again, guys that have, what's your thoughts on Kay and Eric Fetty, the way the season's gone?
I mean, they're just, they either have games where they're throwing really good, or they have games where they're not making it out of the 4th or 5th inning. It's just, there's too much inconsistency, but at least these guys are older veteran guys, so they're probably not going to be on the team in like 2 or 3 years.
Right.
They're kind of just there to eat up the innings for this bullpen. But I mean, when they're on, they're pitching really good. But it's just, you never know whenever you're going to get from them.
You don't know. Again, when you go back to think of, you really start to see it. I start to see it with the Fetty. I watch him. When I start to see Fetty, struggling when he's at that 3-2 count in an inning. Now he walks a guy, and then again he's struggling, and then I start to see a guy fouling off. I do not long at bats where a guy is fouling you off, and I always feel in this case some of these guys, okay, now the pitch count's going up. We're in the 5th inning, we're already at 80 pitches. Okay, Will, what are you gonna come out to do? To go get him.
He's more of a ground ball pitcher, and he's not getting those ground balls. It just becomes that they're just hitting a couple singles at a time.
Exactly, it's amazing.
And with Anthony Kay, he just needs to get out of the 1st inning, because his 1st inning ERA is like in the 6s, and after that he's been pretty good. So if he gets out the 1st inning, which he has done when he's been good, he's been getting out the 1st inning quickly. He's been really good.
Let's talk about some of the young guys that got called up and made a difference. Let's start with Teal. Now, does Teal make a big difference?
I mean,
do you start to see that he could be okay? I mean, as long as he's healthy, right?
I think it was last game he stretched single into a double, so he's showing that his hamstring's fine, but we really need him because he's probably one of our better offensive players too, and our catching position has not been, it's been like last with Edgar Querrell and Drew Romo. Now we had Kyle Teal back who can hit the baseball too. I mean, with him back, it just makes our laps so much deeper because he is such a threat offensively.
Your thoughts on, of course, we talked about Sam. Actually, just incredible. I mean, he's playing a great left field. And of course, to see Tristan Peters, since that Cubs series. I mean,
Yeah.
now, you almost forget that he's
He's one of the best center fielders in baseball.
exactly covers the ground, and
He makes less than $1 million too. He plays so hard too. That's what I really like about all the young guys that play so hard.
they play hard. I mean, it's one of the, I've always been the type of guy that likes veteran players, but boy, these young guys, I mean, they're coming to play every day and they're fighting for positions and everything else. Couple thoughts about Jacob Gonzalez, Braden Montgomery. What do you think?
I really love Jacob Gonzalez. He kind of struggled to adjust to major league pitching when he first got called up, but recently he's been so good for us.
Sure.
The first 2 games against Baltimore, he had 3 RBIs in each of those games. He's got 2 homers. He's been a bright spot in this team, and we can bet him either later. If we bet him later in the line, like around 7, 8, 9 in the lineup, it just gives us so much depth in that lineup because he's a hitter too. And Braden Montgomery, we got him in that Garrett Crochet trade. He's a switch hitter outfielder. He plays great outfield defense too, and he can hit the baseball. These guys just become spark plugs because it adds so much depth with our lineup.
And coming in at the right time. Did forget the gentleman's name who was playing right field earlier in the year. I think we traded him away to the Phillies.
Derek Hill, yeah.
Derek Hill, So
we traded him just to make room for Braden Montgomery.
Yeah. And I think and I really
I think it's just a win-win trade for both.
Oh, what our teams. What's your thoughts on the Muni and Schultz coming back here?
Noah Schultz came back today, made his first start. Today, I mean, he had a little trouble walking, but he showed that he's still got the stuff. He had 7 Ks.
Okay.
I think he came back from the IL. I think he's found himself a little bit more too. And Mooney, we need him back just to complement this lineup so much. He played really good first base too. But I mean, we've been really good without him too. That's been a surprising part.
And that leads me into the next thing before we go. And, we have a couple of other things to talk about, but let's stop it right here. We haven't even mentioned it, and we're already basically, almost 30 minutes into our program here today. We're doing this without that first baseman who's got 20 homers.
I know.
Murakami. Where are we close to getting him back? Because I see him in the dugout the last couple nights.
I've been feeling we're just going to wait for him to come back after the All-Star break.
Okay.
It's in like a week or so. We don't want to rush him back.
Here's maybe the craziest question of the year, and I'm going to towards you because your analyst of this thing is great. I don't even know how to pose this to you. Because of the way they played, they have compensated for the loss of a Murakami, a power hitter. Is this going to hurt us coming back, or do you think they be more offensive? Or I still feel they're playing the same way. The first baseman that they were playing with, we had Gonzalez in first.
Yeah,
right?
which he hasn't played. This is his first time playing first.
He's done an admirable job. Do you think Murakami? I know you're not a doctor. I'm not a doctor. For sure, you're not playing now for 4 weeks. You think this guy still has a chance, let's say, to hit the number of a Nic Fardella, 35 homers? He's at 20 now, right?
Yeah, I do. I've been feeling if let's say the White Sox, we lost a couple of those series too, and we weren't playing as good as we were. I think we would have rushed him back, but since we were playing so well without him, he can come back fully 100% healthy rather than 85 to 90% healthy, which I think is a good sign just for him long-term success with this year. If we want to be healthy, we want to make a playoff run.
Exactly. And you know what? Tell me if I'm wrong. What have you thought of Murakami's defense?
I think it's been a really good surprise.
Right? Because I know a lot of teams passed him by.
Yeah.
And the White Sox took the chance on him, but I did not know that he was so good defensively.
Yeah, I think they passed him by because of the myth that the Japan players can't sort of adapt to Major League Baseball hitting. They said that he can adapt to the fastball, and he's done that just fine.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, he's just a hitter.
Sure. Here we talked about. We have 7 walk-off wins by 7 different players.
Yeah.
Here a year ago, 2 years ago, we were getting walked off every teams and lost so many one-run games, where I felt those teams, those Chicago White Sox teams of 24 and 25 didn't know how to win.
Yeah.
Where this team is finding ways to win if we break it down. Here, we talk about the walk-off wins. Of course, we love the first one, Cuero against the Cubs.
Yeah.
That couldn't have been a better Sunday in all over the world there. I think I texted you that Sunday at your house.
Yeah.
Antonacci, fantastic. Montgomery, Gonzalez, Vargas, of course, is every time you turn around, Vargas is doing something. Peters, and of course, Montgomery. Your thoughts on these guys? And these guys are pretty, we're not talking full-time veterans here. We're talking guys that, have some experience. Do you think this team with this caliber of lineup, and it could change because we're going to ask some questions to you here at the bottom, do you think this team could possibly get a wild card or take that division for what they have right now?
I think for sure. And pretty much all of those guys that got walk-offs are all either rookies. Colson Montgomery, got called up all middle of last year, and this is kind of the second full year of season 2. And Miguel Vargas is the oldest guy on that list. He's 25 years old. And Brandon Montgomery hit a walk-off in his first ever game too. So,
Yeah.
It's just the fact that I think they're so young and they just want to play baseball and they play so hard. And I think they're not supposed to be this good, but they are, and they're just going to prove everyone wrong. They don't really care how good people think they're going to be. They're just going to play.
How do you, to the critics, we're talking, this is the American League Central.
Yeah.
45 and 39. How surprising is this? You think what going into this before we did our first episode, were the Sox picked to be last in that division?
Yeah, either last or second to last.
Yeah. Because Kansas City is rightfully right now a pretty brutal team.
Yeah.
Of course, Detroit just can't get their act together, but the mindset here is unbelievable. Before we go on to finish some of the things here at the bottom, at the halfway point, when is the All-Star game? July 15th?
Yes, July 15th, around that week.
Your thoughts on Venable and what you've seen when he's managing this team? Now, he's managing this team, pitching, defense, whatever. How do you feel he's done in the late innings? Because I really think the managing really for any major league manager or even any coach at any level comes in those late innings. Do you feel confident with a Venable?
I do. I think because before it was the Sir Anthony Dominguez who's been kind of blowing some saves, but I think he's realized that, hey, he's probably not the right guy for us, but he's still got the stuff so you can still use him in the late innings games. But besides that, I really have no problem with him. He's making those necessary adjustments within the game. So, take out Benintendi, even there's a left and put in Randall Gritschmidt. He's done that a lot, too. And just the one thing that I think is crazy is last Monday against Cleveland, we had 7 defensive changes where guys switch positions, which is unheard of. I think that just shows the flexibility within the team that, hey, these guys can play multiple positions, and that I think makes Lowell's job so much easier because you can make those necessary subs at late games, and it doesn't really matter because they can play multiple positions.
Sure. If we're 45 and 30, well, if 40, we're going to be more than 45 and 39, but if September 1st, we're 6-7 games over and with the 1 or 2 game lead or 1 or 2 game behind, do you see them going after the veteran? I know you put on here that a guy like a Dustin May of the Cardinals might be likely to be picked up.
Yeah.
Do you see some veterans?
I do. There's a couple of guys that have been floating around just possible trade candidates within the White Sox. And the one young guy that we have in the farm system, Billy Carlson, he's probably, if we make a move, he'd probably be traded just because he's a shortstop and we had the first overall pick and that's most likely going to be a shortstop. So we don't need him right now. We don't need him. He doesn't really make sense. So he would probably be the guy, but I just don't want us to overpay for anyone.
Exactly.
So if we trade him, we just trade him and another random relief pitcher. I'm fine with that.
And and that's what gets you in trouble when you make these trades in September for future Sometimes your drafts get screwed up. Or,
exactly.
Well, I got to be honest with you. This was a great summary here today of this 2026. We are basically at the halfway point, and to be 45-39 in that division. And I thought Cleveland was going to maybe have an 8 or 9 game lead on us. I don't see, I really don't see, and tell me if I'm wrong, that the White Sox and Cleveland are going to lose position at first or second place. I think this is the horse race that we're going to stay down.
Detroit's playing a little better as of recently, but I think they're going to trade Tarek Skubal. So if they trade him, I mean, they're not going to be as good. He's like the best pitcher in all of baseball.
Exactly.
I was like, they're going to get traded at the deadline.
Okay. We're going to try to do an episode here in August with Nick. Of course, Nick out of Michigan State University is working out of Michigan State. And of course, out of Michigan, graduate of Michigan State. And then Nick, of course, being a White Sox specialist analyst, and we've created this show. We're going to probably meet up. What do you think, Nick? Maybe first week of August?
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, we'll see where we're at, let's say in 30 days, because 30 days basically gives you probably about 26 to 27 games. So we're going to be infringing on the 60, 70 mark of, where we are in wins and that. And let's see if the White Sox, starting July 1st, can have another 500 a month, because that will keep us in the hunt. Your thoughts then, if we could stay where we're at, 1 or 2 game lead, or maybe even open up a little bit more. How important is now, the last question I'd like to ask you before I let you go, how important is one of those games in your division right now?
It's huge. I mean, it really all matters about winning your division. The easier path to make the playoffs. Obviously, you don't have to play the wild card game, and it'd be huge just to win those division games, get confidence.
How do you feel about them on the road?
I mean, before, this was their first road series win that they've had since like May. So I'm glad they finally got that off their book. But I mean, they've been dominant at home, which is a plus.
It's the old White Sox Park again.
Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely. Right. I mean, this is a huge series coming up.
Yeah, Cleveland.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 4-game series against Cleveland.
Sure.
We win that. We kind of set the tone that, hey, we can win on the road now.
We can win on the road.
We're not going to
We're here. We're not running away from you and everything else.
And we got Davis Martin pitching tomorrow. We'll have Sean Burke pitching later on in the series.
The only thing I can think of is that, of course, we don't want to be swept. We don't want to be swept because now it's a 2-game swing, and we don't.
I don't think we are, because also the Braves were the 2 teams to not have a 4-game losing streak in the season, which is also insane to say about the White Sox.
Sure. All right. This was episode 3 of the White Sox Shatter with Nic Fardella and John Conenna. Nick, of course, has analyzed this White Sox season, in my opinion, perfectly. We are going to be back here in August and, of course, September. And I hope we even do an October edition this year. We're going to do an October. Yeah. And I think if me and Nick can do an October edition, because I never thought I was going to say this, we might, if we get into a playoff, we could do a Zoom where we are doing a synopsis of the game right after the game, because we both are, of course, watching the White Sox constantly. Nick, thanks again for this great, and 45-39. This young man is spot on, and let's see what happens in the month of July. Good day, everyone. Thank you.
White Sox, go, go, White Sox. Let's go, 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 White Sox. We're with you all the way. You're always in there fighting, and you do your best. We're glad to have you out here in the Middle West. We're gonna root, White Sox, and cheer you on to victory. When we're in the stands, we'll make those rafters ring. All through the season, you will hear us sing. Let's go, go, go,